We're about to go full court press. It's time to play ball. Listen in as we tackle everything in the world of sports right now. Throw your hat in the ring at 516-572-7440. Huddle up. This is WHPC Sports Talk on the voice of Nassau Community College, 90.3 WHPC.
Here we go. It's Friday. It's the afternoon. It's Friday afternoon, and it's also 3 o'clock. You know what time that is? It's tea time, and it's also time for WHPC Sports Talk. You're on the voice of Nassau Community College, 90.3 WHPC. I'm Rick Pichetti. Alongside me, Nick Ornberger.
Me.
Hey.
Hi.
How you doing?
Good.
Great.
You're welcome.
And, of course, Matt Charkowicz.
Yo,
what's happening?
Not
I
much.
love your hat.
Thank you very much. That was a great win last night.
That was a great win, and who knows, maybe we might get into that. But there is something that we have to get into first. Now, of course, if you may or may not know, Chris Weidmann, who is a former student of Nassau Community College, was doing an interview today with our very own, who, if you want to hear him, you can hear him on Mondays at 5 o'clock, Dan Morales, and Joe Ritter, who are both really, really big UFC, not participants, but UFC watchers. I have never watched a minute of UFC. The only UFC that I have
I'm an
watched...
enthusiast of it.
The only UFC thing that I have watched wasn't really UFC, it was boxing. It was Mayweather versus McGregor. That was the only thing.
You didn't watch Mayweather-Pacquiao? You didn't?
No.
Those were better fights.
No.
I mean, geez.
No, yeah. I swear, the only thing that I've watched that involved contact sports that I was really, really invested in was Mayweather-McGregor. That was the main...
Okay.
I'm serious.
Canelo, Triple G, nothing? Jeez.
Couldn't tell you anything about it.
Interesting.
But, of course, we have to play this interview by Joe Ritter and Dan Morales because Chris Weidmann was promoting just a little something. Now, we're going to tune into that. When we come back, we got a lot of things to talk about. But first, Dan Morales and Joe Ritter, why don't you take it away?
Hello, everyone. It's Daniel Morales from WHPC Sports Talk. Here with me today, I have Joe Ritter and NCC alumni, 4-time middleweight UFC champion, Chris Weidmann. Thank you for being with us today, Chris.
Thank you for having me. It's a pleasure.
So I hear you're involved with the Wrestling Takes Down Drugs. Is there any personal story, any story from your past that affected you in some type of way that makes you more involved with this event, or is it just because it's your hometown, it's Long Island, it's where you're from? What do you think this event means to you?
Yeah, I haven't had any extremely close friends, but I've had some neighbors that overdosed and passed away, and was a heartfelt situation where me and the community were severely touched. And then also, as a UFC fighter, I've had tons of surgeries. So I've had these painkillers, and I could see how easily that could become a slippery slope down the wrong road. And so I understand how people could eventually get addicted to something like this, and that's why it's so vital that we're educating and creating this awareness for young kids to stay away from things like painkillers that eventually which eventually leads to heroin.
Definitely.
Another story is, I spoke about last time I was here, but as a little kid, I was in Little League Baseball in Baldwin. Down in Meadow School. And we had these jerseys that, had a little slogan on them, and it said, say no to drugs. And at the time, I was really young. I didn't know what really drugs were. But as I got older, I didn't realize that had such an impact on me. That slogan was always in my mind. It was something that I knew when kids started heading down the wrong direction, that I never wanted to be one of those kids that were doing something like that. And I said no to drugs. I didn't head down the wrong road. And it's funny, something like that, a little slogan on your T-shirt can make an impact. Imagine what an event like this could do for the kids. Yeah. And so it's an honor and a privilege to be able to be a part of this, and hopefully we could have an impact on some kids moving forward.
Definitely.
So also one other question we wanted to ask you is that everyone knows you. When you go online, the first thing that pops up is that you're a Hofstra alumni. That's the first thing that I see, right? But little do people know you're actually a Nassau alumni as well.
Oh, yeah.
So I wanted to ask you if you have any formative experiences at Nassau, or if that maybe helped you to develop into the champion fighter you become, or just in general give you a better outlook on life. What did Nassau bring to you, and what do you feel like you could tell us about?
Yeah, Nassau has done. It's funny because I always try to mention Nassau when I talk because it really did so much for me. Without Nassau Community College, I wouldn't be where I'm at today, and that's a fact. When I was coming out of high school, I didn't have great grades. School was something I wasn't mature enough to focus on at that time, and Nassau Community College gave me that second chance, a second chance at having the opportunity to become successful. A lot of these kids in high school who were really focused on school for 4 years, they killed it. They graduated top of their class and they looked for these Ivy League schools, and it was something that wasn't even on my mind. But Nassau gave me the opportunity to focus on school, have that second chance, and eventually I was getting looked at by Cornell University from Nassau, a kid who I didn't even pass the Division I clearinghouse, which is a combination of your SAT scores and your GPA. I wasn't able to even compete at Division I level, even if I wanted to. So I had to do 2 years at Nassau, and because I stayed away from some of the people in my neighborhood that might have brought me down in the past while I was in high school, I focused on I had role models like Coach Schmidt, who really has been an unsung hero in my life, a mentor, guy who's still here coaching wrestlers, and he's a professor here for fire safety, and he really helped me become the man I am today, where I started focusing on school, and actually I became an academic All-American when I was here at Nassau Community College. I turned it around. I started gaining confidence because I wasn't very confident when it came to schoolwork and intelligence, and because I was able to have the opportunity to turn it around here, it created this newfound confidence in myself, and before you know it, I had offers from Cornell University, Hofstra University, among North Carolina State, a couple others, and at that time, Hofstra University wrestling program, along with its academics, it was a no-brainer. That's the only place I wanted to go. And so, again, without the platform at Nassau Community College, I wouldn't be where I'm at today.
And that's amazing. There's so many great stories that I know personally, just from my friends and from me knowing people who went to Nassau, and that's excellent to hear from you, because I know just personally, whenever people talk, they're like, oh, he went to Hofstra. Like, I have a friend that's sister went to Hofstra when you were there, when you were wrestling. She's like, oh my God, he went to Hofstra, but no one ever really, I feel like, talks about, you went to Nassau too. Yeah. And me being a Nassau alumni, I'm super proud of that.
Yeah, I'm very happy that I'm a Nassau student. Yeah. I'm going to go wrestle next year, hopefully, for the school. And
okay,
now
awesome.
Chris Weidmann doing the same thing. That's awesome.
Yeah, no, I appreciate that, and honestly, I'm so proud of being a Nassau Community College student and being able to graduate from here, especially being a kid that grew up pretty close to here in Baldwin. Mm-hmm. It was just a perfect transition for me. Some kids get a little, they're competitive and they have their other high school students that they're with, and for some reason in their minds they were almost embarrassed to go to Nassau. Like, you see these other kids going other places, but once you get past that, which is an ego thing, it's a prideful thing. Mm-hmm. You let that go and you start focusing on school here, the sky's the limit. I mean, you could do way greater things here, and this place allows you to mature into the student that you might need to become to get to another opportunity, another school, or to find a different job. It really is a great place to grow.
Yeah, I absolutely agree with you. It's amazing that we haven't gotten you on the show before now. We gotta work on it.
Hey, I'm around, man. I'm in Dix Hills now, so and my gym is right around the block.
We gotta get you on the sports show.
Yeah,
we gotta get you on the sports.
I would love to. Yeah, I'm in Garden City every single day, so I'm always here. So just let me know.
So speaking of your training and everything, I want to talk to you just a little bit because I know personally Twitter can be a mean place. And the other day you went on Twitter and you were talking about the Israel Adesanya fight. And how he beat Anderson Silva in a decision.
Right.
And you said he was overrated because of the win.
Tad bit overrated.
Now, personally, I know I shouldn't get my personal feelings
put your opinion.
But I'm going to put my opinion in there.
Go ahead.
I agree with you.
Everyone deserves an opinion.
I actually do agree with you. Mm-hmm. I think that being the favorite that he should have been, he absolutely should have destroyed Silva.
Yeah.
But with that said, what comments do you want to put? Because, after you put that, it became a firestorm. As everything does on Twitter.
Of course.
So what would you say? What would you say maybe in comments to people who commented on that, people who talked about it?
Well, I think I did a pretty good job at justifying what I meant by overrated.
Very good job.
And I commented back to the comments, which usually I don't do. So it was kind of out of character, like you said, Twitter could be a mean place, and sometimes it's better off just not even looking at comments. Just put it out there. Whatever happens, happens. But I was feeling a little, I don't know the right. I was feeling a little antsy, and I felt like compelled to answer these guys back because I should probably stand up for myself.
Stand up for your own opinion.
A lot of times, I'm the type of guy that just doesn't feel like I have to stand up for myself. My actions are worth more than my words. You get killed a lot when you kind of stay quiet. So as of late, I got really starting with that post. I'm like, you know what? Let me actually, bring my words a little bit closer to people and let them understand what I think and what I mean by what I'm saying. So as far as the little bit overrated, listen, Israel is a very talented fighter, very good stand-up fighter. But you can't argue the fact, like you said, listen, he was a minus 750 favorite over Anderson Silva, who's 43 years old. Right? So people saw that, he's gonna kill this guy. Yeah. I mean, Adesanya is known for his stand-up, and he's going against pretty much just strictly another stand-up guy. You can't ask for a better matchup. He goes in there, and it was a decently close fight. It was a decision. I think one of the judges at least gave a round to Anderson Silva. And so based on the odds, just based on that, he's overrated. Yeah, you can't argue that. It was a close fight, and minus 750 favorite. It should have been he maybe could have been a minus 150. Favorite, and that would have made more sense.
Right, it wouldn't be as overrated.
Yes, it wouldn't be as. And overrated, then on top of it, they're right away. He should be fighting for the title. Blah blah blah, and which is fine. I get it. They're amping him up right now. They're trying to make a star out of him, and he's doing a great job of.
I believe he's undefeated as well. Too.
But he's undefeated. He's undefeated, which is great. So they want to use that. But let's just be honest here. He hasn't fought one top wrestler, which is rare. To get to the top, and not fight one top wrestler is crazy. To never fight one top jiu-jitsu guy either, on top of it. He hasn't fought one top jiu-jitsu guy. So these are things I pointed out. And then on top of that, he hasn't fought one top 5 guy yet.
Right.
And we're talking about him fighting for the title.
In the top 5.
And just to make it clear, me, who I'm getting attacked like crazy as if I shouldn't have an opinion, I have now fought 11 top 5 guys in a row. Okay, listen, I haven't won them all. I had some fights that I lost, but every single one of those fights that I lost, they were very competitive.
Yes.
And I was winning actually every single one of them.
I know your last fight.
I lost.
You looked incredible in your last fight. As soon as I was watching, first off, I'm always rooting for you.
Thank you.
A big Chris Weidmann
because I'm a Hofstra alumni. No.
Exactly. But so I always am rooting for you, and I was at the Garden for your first pay-per-view there. I went to the second, which was you fought Souza there. Let me say, when I was watching you strike, you were technically, I think you were better than I've ever seen you.
Thank you.
You were crisp, you were clean, and you dominated, I would say, 98% of the fight. The 2% of the fight was you just got hit by one.
And that's part of the game. And
that's part of the game.
I've got better over the years. Like, listen, I was undefeated for a very long time. I beat the greatest of all time as an undefeated fighter, and while he was undefeated at the same time, undefeated in the UFC. And no one could even imagine him losing. Then I go on to defend my belt another 3 times afterwards. And then I have my first loss, and then my second, third, fourth. I have 4 losses that I have to own them, For a while, I was like shamed, but at the end of the day, how could I be shamed of you step into the octagon against the best guys in the world over and over like I do? Whether I win or lose, I can't. There's nothing to be embarrassed about. You know what I mean? Like, I was right there with them. I'm not getting dominated. The second I start getting dominated, I'm out of the sport. I'm not sticking around to get dominated, and I have no chance of becoming the champion. I think the chances were with me in every single one of that fight that I was looking like I was going to win every single one of those, and then something drastic happened, and that's something that obviously I'm working on. In that Jacare fight, you look back like. I wish I was losing the stand-up battle. At this point, if hindsight's 2020, obviously, if I started getting hit with things in that fight, I'm taking it to the ground. But people who aren't extremely educated on the sport, they don't realize he's one of the best Brazilian jiu-jitsu guys in the world.
Yes.
And if I'm dominating on the feet like I wasn't getting really hit with anything, and I'm picking them apart.
Why bring it to the ground?
Why bring it to the ground? But I mean, if I would have known I was going to get hit with a shut like that in the third round out of nowhere, I would have liked to see what happens on the ground. You know what I mean? Yeah, exactly. But you have those Twitter and different, social media platforms where people are allowed to come on there and comment, and there's a lot of hate. And and I can't let that affect me. I have to be confident with who I am. I know I'm right there with all these guys, and I think I'm better than almost every single one of them. I don't think one guy is more well-rounded than me, so I'm confident I'll get that belt back.
I want to be completely honest. I feel like you've been fighting like online and Twitter hate since day one. Since you knocked out Anderson Silva.
100%.
I feel like the first thing I saw on Twitter wasn't, oh my God, I can't believe Anderson Silva just hit the ground. It was, I can't believe this UFC fixed this. And to me, I'm like, how do they fix something like? Why would they want to fix something like that?
Yeah.
First, I was happy. I was like, finally, we got Long Island champ. I'm so happy. But I'm saying to myself, why would the UFC even want to fix something like that if they did? And they definitely didn't. I'm not discrediting you at all, but that's the first thing you see on Twitter. So Twitter, I feel like, and social media is just, for some reason, they pick bones with you.
They got issues with me. They got hate on me. And I think a big reason is, listen, what I did, at 9-0, I went against the greatest of all time. I went out there and completely dominated the fight from start to finish and knocked him out. He had his hands down when I knocked him out, so people try to point to that as if, like, oh, he was playing around. I got lucky. It was a fluke. He was just doing that with Adesanya. If Adesanya would have knocked him out, then was that a fluke? That's what he does. I mean, that's what actually makes him great. If he was to, like, in the second fight, when he came at me, hands up, traditional Muay Thai, because he had such backlash from getting knocked out with his hands down, he was so much easier to fight. When he put his hands down in that first fight, that wasn't easy. That's hard to do. As much as I trained for it leading up to it, when a guy does that, and you got millions of people watching you, and they're like, oh, look, he just got his hands down, he's playing with them. There's a reason why he does that. It messes with your mind. And for me to go out there and do what no one else has ever done at so young in my career, and nobody really even knew me yet, they just hated on me. I mean, and he was so many people's idol. He was undefeated. He was dominating everybody before that. Right? I mean, his last fight before that, it was Stephan Bonnar. He put himself on the cage. Stephan Bonnar is trying to tee off on him. He throws a knee, just steps to the side, just completely toying with guys. Forrest Griffin, the fight before that. And then I come out there and completely dominate him and knock him out. People wanted to hate on that, and they cannot let it go. I went on, I beat him again. He broke his leg. If you watch, the only thing he hit me with in the first fight, the only thing he had any type of success with was leg kicks. Now, he didn't hit me with one punch pretty much in that first fight. I mean, it might have been like a little flick of a jab. Second fight, I knew he's going to go back to those leg kicks. I trained, like you won't believe, to stop the leg kicks and to check those leg kicks, to make him pay every time he would throw that leg kick. And he happened to break his leg when I checked it the right way. Not saying I went in there to break his leg, because I didn't. That's flukish. It is a fluke that he broke his leg, but I bet the 7.5 minutes before I broke his leg, what he do to me then, was that a fluke? Every single second of all of our fights, our 2 fights, it's about 13 minutes, somewhere around that time. I completely dominated. Right. And still people were upset. So
I think that this is just about going to wrap it up. I want to say thank you so much for giving us the time here at WHC Sports Talk to talk with you. Hopefully we can get you on again soon. We'll definitely have to see what we could do.
Yeah, let's do it. I'm super pumped to be here. I got to thank again. I know I already mentioned Coach Schmidt. Coach Paul Schmidt has done so much for this university. He's like the unsung hero for me as a mentor, not only as a wrestling coach but as a human being. So he's a big reason. I mean, really the only reason I'm involved with this Wrestlers Take Down Drugs event tomorrow. And if you are a Nassau Community College student, make sure you go and say hi to Coach Schmidt. And if you're a wrestler, this is the place to be. And if you're around for some matches, they got matches locally that you can come and watch. So make sure you support the program. And I also can't forget my buddy Tyshawn Scarlett, wrestler at University of Pittsburgh, and then also here was an All-American. And he's an assistant coach here now, and he used to copy off my papers as a master's student at Hofstra University. But now he writes his own papers.
Thank you so much, Chris. That is all the time we're going to have here today. It is me, Daniel Morales, and Joe Ritter, and UFC champion Chris Weidmann on 90.3 WHPC.
Wonderful interview by Dan Morales and Joe Ritter. It was great. It was honestly great. I've never really watched UFC, but you know what? I might start watching it after listening to Chris. He sounded like such a great person. Yeah, honestly. All right, so when we come back, we're going to be talking about the latest and greatest. If you're on that side in sports, do not, please just don't change the dial, because I'll get very upset. You don't want me to get upset. You don't want to see me when I'm angry. I'll turn green and large. We'll be right back.
It's Tuesday night at 8. Do you know where your children are?
It's not Tuesday night at 8 right now.
It's 8 p.m. somewhere. It's time for the Rock Binge.
But it's not 8 p.m. here. What's the Rock Binge?
I'm ready! You know, the Rock Binge, where it plays modern rock and alternative music in a class of its own, with the latest rock news, too. Is it Tuesday night at 8 yet?
No. The show sounds cool and all, but maybe you need to buy a new watch or something?
No, I do not need a new watch. I just can't wait for it to be Tuesday night at 8. Why would you want to miss out on classic SpongeBob lines or this amazing voice?
All right, I get it. All right, I'll listen, I promise.
All right, is it Tuesday night at 8 now?
No, it's not.
How about now?
Stop asking.
You got to turn on the voice of Nassau Community College, 90.3 WHPC.
All right, forget it. If you can't beat them, join them. Is it Tuesday night at 8 now?
Let me check my watch. Nope, not yet.
Wait.
All right, now we can sports talk. Here on the voice of Nassau Community College, 90.3 WHBC. I'm Brett Fischetti, alongside me, Nick Orberger.
Ooh, Barracuda.
No, this is
Wrong
Kiss.
song.
I wasn't listening to it.
This is Kiss.
It reminds me of Barracuda.
I guess.
It's similar.
It's Kiss.
And
Yes. And of course, Matt Charkowicz.
What's up?
Nothing much. All right, now it's time to sports talk. So I think it's fair to start out with football because groundbreaking stuff happened during this week. Like, for instance, a Super Bowl MVP was traded to the Denver Broncos. And his name is Joe Flacco. Joe Flacco and the Baltimore Ravens. Actually, no, excuse me. The Baltimore Ravens sent Joe Flacco to the Denver Broncos for a 4th-round pick. How the mighty have fallen. It's Lamar Jackson's team now.
Yeah.
It's his team, and I don't go as far as saying how the mighty have fallen. Joe Flacco was
never that good.
That's
He's
not fair.
always
Joe
been-
Flacco is a very, very good quarterback.
Yes.
But that's all he's been, is a very good quarterback. He never took that next step into superstardom, not even after his Super Bowl MVP. And look, a couple of really, really great years, but it never felt like, to anybody, it never felt like Joe Flacco was about to take the Aaron Rodgers leap or the Peyton Manning. Well, there was no leap with Peyton Manning. He was just Peyton Manning.
He's been Peyton Manning from the beginning, honestly.
Well, I mean, he had that one rough start year, but you get the point.
Yeah.
Though. Tom Brady takes the reins, and boom, he's Tom Brady. And you could go on. Andrew Luck came in swinging.
You can say Eli Manning came in and took the reins.
Yeah.
Honestly, come on. I mean, he took over late in the season, but still, I don't mean to be a little biased because I'm not trying to be biased, but that falls into your point. He became Eli Manning then when he took over for
Eli
Kurt
Manning
Warner.
became Eli Manning when David Tyree made the luckiest catch in the world.
Continue. Out of my face.
Continue.
Anyway, this trade's just kind of underwhelming. I don't think Flacco is that much better than Case Keenum, if you want me to be honest with you, because we kind of knew that Keenum was going to take a huge step back when he left Minnesota. And let's be honest, even if he stayed in Minnesota, Pat Shurmur still left, and he's the quarterback guru that, brought Case Keenum to stardom, if you even want to call it that. You don't know how Case Keenum would have stayed, how he would have been if he stayed in Minnesota. It's just kind of underwhelming. But, come to think of it, John Elway really doesn't have that much luck with quarterbacks.
No, he doesn't, and he didn't have all that much luck with his career. A guy his level should have won more. And John Elway was an incredible quarterback.
Yes, he was.
He was a great Bronco. But I think I don't stand alone when I say that John Elway should have won more Super Bowls with the teams that he had.
Jim Kelly should have won. Dan Marino should have won.
But having said that, I don't know, the Case Keenum point, I think he was more a product of that system. I think he was more of a product of the talent he had around him. Stephon Diggs is an incredibly talented wide receiver.
Yeah.
I rank him top 5. He's a circus catch machine, super fast. Reliable.
Yeah.
So I don't know. I'm looking at the glass half full for the Denver Broncos. Did they upgrade? Yes, in my
But
mind.
marginally, though.
Marginally.
Yeah,
You're
not
still
too much.
dealing with a what I call a depleted receiving core. None of those guys excite me anymore.
No.
No, not at all.
They're old. No, not old, but they're getting there.
They're old in football terms.
Yeah, 32. I think the average age of their receiving core, I looked at this somewhere, is like 31 years old.
Really?
That's a lot of age, man.
Yeah, that's a lot of age, but if you look, this just comes down to the fact: can Joe Flacco make your receivers better? I think it's tough.
I don't think so.
I don't think he's like a Ben Roethlisberger type. But obviously, he's not Tom Brady.
He's not that kind of
But
quarterback.
It just comes down to the fact: did they upgrade? Yes. Is it a slight upgrade? Yes. But can you? I don't know. Are the Broncos going to make a lot of noise next year? Honestly, Nick, you're a fan within that division. Are the Broncos going to make noise in that division come next year? Because the Raiders are going to be bad. The Chiefs are going to be status quo. Where do the Raiders stand in your opinion?
I
mean the Broncos.
was about to say, I think the Vic Fangio hire has a lot to do with this.
Yes, I agree.
Because Vic Fangio understands that, hey, we're not getting a high draft pick. We're not getting the quarterback of the future, so we need to tape this thing together. We're going to use some duct tape and some Gorilla Glue to make a football team. What he's been blessed with is the fact that he has two of the best pass rushers in the game on his team. One of them still at an elite level for however long. You don't know when Von Miller will eventually fall off the map.
And Bradley Chubb is up and
Bradley
coming.
Chubb is an absolute monster. This kid is going to be the real deal. This is as good of a defensive line that I've seen since Dwight Freeney and Mathis with the Colts all those years ago.
Yep.
So I think this is a very Vic Fangio kind of. When they came down to him and said, "Hey man, for a 4th round pick, we can get you Joe Flacco," he said, "Yeah, we're doing that."
Is this a case of the Ravens just giving Flacco away, though?
They needed to get something for him. And I think they found the right suitor. This happens with everybody. It just happened to the Knicks. You have to find the right suitor. And if you can't find him, I think Joe Flacco would have been released anyway. But they needed to find a suitor. The Denver Broncos didn't want to miss out on an opportunity that only in the grand scheme of things was going to cost them a 4th round pick. He's worth a 4th round pick. That's what he's worth. You got him at cost. So this I think this is a great move for the Denver Broncos. I just don't think it's going to be enough. You're still dealing with
They need receivers.
Yeah, you're still dealing with Mahomes and Tyreek Hill and Kelsey in that division and that whole offense and Andy Reid. You're still dealing with a revitalized Los Angeles Chargers team.
Don't worry,
now.
they're still San Diego.
Yeah, I know. There'll always be San Diego to me.
Me too.
A revitalized team now. What has been done to turn everything around there? And
Anthony
obviously
Lynn.
the maturation of Joey Bosa has been stunning. And Phillip Rivers just continues to be an issue in division for teams. The only team you can count out is the Oakland Raiders. But then again, who
They
knows?
have 3 first-round picks, though.
Well, who knows what they do with those picks?
They could easily trade them. Throw them in trades.
Why would you trade them?
I was going to say, why
throw
would you
them in
trade
trades? You could.
I don't think you should.
For what? You want young players to build as your core around your team. Now they're using those picks, and this is a good draft to do it. And it's a very deep draft, not necessarily a quarterback.
I guess the thing that I can probably back you up on is maybe you want to trade one of those picks for somebody, but even then
Not all
I
of
would
them,
be
no,
definitely not. But if I'm the Raiders, I want to keep as much assets as I can, maybe even trade more assets if I can. You think they're done trading people? You think Derek Carr's still on the block?
I would assume he's not going to be. They're probably going to want him to be the quarterback this year. In my opinion, you hear rumors that there are issues between him and Gruden,
which I kind of believe.
I believe there are, but I think even Gruden realizes you need a veteran presence. If you're not, even if you get the quarterback of the future, I'm sorry, if Dwayne Haskins winds up an Oakland Raider,
I would hate that.
Well, whatever. If he does, I don't see a quarterback in Dwayne Haskins that is NFL ready.
No, he's clearly not ready. Whoever's going to draft him, which, we'll get into that when the time comes. I hope it's the Giants, honestly. But he's clearly not ready. Haskins isn't ready. Murray could be ready depending on the team, but even then, he's still a work in progress.
But to bring this back full circle, I think the Denver Broncos are now a team you have to pay attention to. They're not necessarily a team that I'm worried about.
Are you afraid of them?
No, I'm afraid of their defense. I've always been afraid of their defense, but we handled the Denver Broncos this year. So all this does is marginally upgrade them. They're still dealing with the same weapons. That offensive line doesn't help matters in Denver, and on top of that, Joey Flacco is not a mobile guy anymore. He can move around a little bit, but he's never been a scat quarterback. It's not his game.
No, he really hasn't. But, I think we're all in consensus. I think this deal, it kind of works out for the Broncos. We hope it could work out just a little bit more for them.
And for the Ravens, it solidifies Lamar Jackson as your guy. Now Lamar knows.
Now, looking back on it, that's why they didn't put Flacco in. During that playoff game. That makes so much sense now because let's be honest, the Ravens could be a playoff team again this coming year behind the Browns. Hot take. But
I hope the Browns lose.
Really?
Yeah, I hate the Browns.
Why?
I am not happy with this. We'll get into it later, but I am not happy with the Hunt signing.
All right, well, I guess let's get into that now. Kareem Hunt has a new team thanks to a familiar face. Cut from the Chiefs in December following the publication of a video that showed him shoving and kicking a woman in the hallway of his Cleveland residence in February. The running back has been signed by the Cleveland Browns. The signing comes just over a year to the day since that incident. Nick, you've been very outspoken in the last 30 seconds. What do you think of the signing?
I've been outspoken since it happened. I even called out my own team. I thought that how the Kansas City Chiefs handled this was terrible. You waited till it became news to release Kareem Hunt. Does anybody in this room, anybody out there listening right now, honestly believe that the Kansas City Chiefs and the Hunt family, who have been nothing more than a pillar in the NFL of how to run a team the right way, how to treat your fan base, that they didn't have the assets, the ability to know about this before it broke as news? TMZ got it before you? Get the hell out of here.
Yeah,
that's bullcrap. If you want to believe that, you're an idiot. I'm sorry. You're a guy or a girl who's sticking your head in the sand and going, I don't want to hear it. Because you love your team too much. They knew about it. I was disappointed. They only reacted by getting rid of it. On to the Hunt news. On to him signing here. Cleveland, the Browns can absolutely sink no lower. To me, this guy doesn't miss a year of football. Not a suspension down from the NFL yet?
Isn't he on the exempt list, though?
I think he is.
Yeah, but how long? That's not going to last. He's going to appeal in front of the NFL. They're going to slap him with a 4 or 6 game suspension, which is what they give guys for smoking pot. And he's going to get to play again.
You know what's funny about that?
The NFL's broken.
You know what's funny about that? Because we broke it on Monday when it happened, when unfortunately you weren't here. You were probably wrestling a moose or something like Matt.
I heard that as I was uploading the podcast. I'm like, did he just say I'm wrestling a moose?
Yeah.
And did Ross have the stones to say I couldn't win? Come on.
Look, you want to get mad at him?
I'm taking Ross to town on that point.
Get mad at him on Monday, but
only if it was Bullwinkle.
Well, maybe. But listen, when we broke it on Monday, I found it incredible how, Josh Gordon couldn't get back into the league as quickly as Kareem Hunt did. And Josh Gordon, as we know, has been busted numerous times for smoking weed. It's whatever what side you're on. It's legal in a lot of states now. It's whatever. It's medicinal, whatever you want to put on it. We broke that on Monday. And I also said that I would rather my player be busted with a slap on the wrist for smoking weed than, God forbid, getting in trouble with the law, getting in trouble with, police and the law fall into the same category, but beating a woman. I would rather a guy like Colin Kaepernick or Josh Gordon on my team than a guy like Kareem Hunt or even Ray Lewis, who was allegedly busted for killing a guy, or O.J. Simpson, who's been, we all know it. We don't even need to get into that. I would rather a guy on my team like Kaepernick for peaceful protest, no matter how much you hate it or not. I would rather a guy like Kaepernick on my team and Josh Gordon than a guy like Kareem Hunt or Ray Lewis, who are... And let's be honest, Kareem Hunt was in for a huge payday if none of this went down. I think he'd be in for a huge payday if not with the Chiefs, with somebody.
In a couple of years, yeah. I mean, they would have probably renegotiated the terms to pay him a little more in the meantime, which never happens with the NFL. But the Chiefs are actually well known for doing this. You have a good couple of years, they'll usually be opening to renegotiating the terms of your contract. Having said that, would have been the big payday? No, that would have come in a couple of years, and it still will.
Right, but I mean, how old is he? He's got to be at least 23,
he's
right?
24? He turns 23 this year.
All right, so he's in the range of 23, 24. He was great this year before the Chiefs shut him down due to this whole mess. But I would rather a guy like Kaepernick and Josh Gordon on my team than a guy like Kareem Hunt, because Kareem Hunt, that's just...
You don't do
First
that.
off, you're a coward. You're
You
not
just
a
don't do
man. You're hitting a woman. It looks bad, honestly. No matter what side you're on the video, oh, he didn't really push her. He didn't really...
No,
it looks
don't matter.
bad. The Chiefs did themselves justice by getting rid of him. It came late, but they did justice by getting rid of that toxicity.
Well, that's not just the Chiefs' issue. That is a issue.
That's the NFL
That's
issue,
the NFL
Yeah, it makes
issue.
the league look bad.
But
And-
even Ray Rice, the Ravens did themselves justice by getting rid of him. It just looks bad. It doesn't matter what side you're on. It looks awful. But am I crazy to say that I would rather Kaepernick
No,
or
I don't think so.
Josh Gordon on my team than those guys? Am I out of the realm of
No,
you're
not one
nuts?
bit. Not one bit.
Because Kaepernick didn't do anything wrong. He flew in the face of your American or my American or people's Americans' beliefs to protest the cause that he believed in. I'd stand for the national anthem. I hold my hand over my heart and I take off my hat. That's what I do. I don't care what anybody else does. Next time you're in the stadium, the people get pissed off at Kaepernick. Do yourself a favor. Next time you're in a stadium, look around you. Look at the people walking up and down stairs. Look at the vendors still selling beer.
That scream, and when you hear it on TV also.
Yeah, the idiots who start going, ah, just so they can get so those people aren't bad people. You never want to call out those people who are being completely rude and disruptive.
It's ridiculous.
What about the NFL who cuts the national anthem out of their broadcasts unless it's the Super Bowl? For what?
That's
an extra
disgusting.
few million of commercial time?
And the biggest stage, maybe.
And we're going to sit here and call Kaepernick a bad American for trying to raise awareness for a cause that's just police brutality, especially in urban communities and disenfranchised minorities?
They started paying attention to it more when Kaepernick started doing it. Who knows? There could have been a ton more players that would have been doing it that we don't see, only due to the fact that they don't show the national anthem. And at some point, people didn't really care, honestly. They didn't really care because they didn't see it. It's kind of like an out-of-sight, out-of-mind thing. But we do have a call on the line. Call, you are on WHBC Sports Talk. What's up?
Yeah, Richie from Charlotte. How you doing?
Hey, Richie.
Listen, your numbers are finally still working. It's getting crazy.
Thank God.
Yeah, we got it back. It's all good now.
Oh, thank God. I want to talk about the Knicks second, okay?
All right, yeah.
Sure, why not?
About three weeks ago, the Knicks coach said, "Oh, we're not going to try to win more games. We're just going to try the new guys in to see how to do for next year." How does the NBA let them get away with that to lose their games?
Well, they're not doing anything wrong. I mean, the Knicks are just bad in this sense. But, yeah, you do have to develop the young players, and now they have no choice to because their best player not only was on the shelf but is now in Dallas. So the Knicks are just bad at this point. They're not really tanking. They can tell you that they are, but I think they're just bad. I could be naive, but what do you think? Do you think they're just bad or they're tanking?
Terrible. Tanking, bad, everything. And you know what, Jewish? Nobody's not going to come here as a free agent. Who's going to come here? Nobody.
People that want money. That's it.
Yep.
And look, you know what? I know I said, I'd be talking out of my rear, but, I'm getting a feeling that, the Knicks are going to get looked at a lot more by free agents, only due to the fact they have room that they... Whoa, is someone chasing after you? But
it sounded like that was something from The Exorcist, Richie. Like someone just ate your soul. Go ahead.
No, I'm not moving it. By the move. And people were just like flying by.
Oh, good gosh.
Crazy. Anyway.
I want to ask you a question, Richie.
Okay.
What is the percentage in your mind that Kevin Durant comes here? Take as much time as you need.
50-50.
He's going 50-50. Okay, Richie, I got to tell you, my man, I don't even give it a 20% chance.
No, he's not coming here.
Kevin Durant is not coming to New York. And don't get me
There's
wrong.
no way.
They're going to spend 2 max-level contracts this season. It's probably going to be on Kemba Walker and somebody else.
Jimmy Butler.
Jimmy Butler,
yeah.
some B-level star. Jimmy Butler, at least he played defense, but he'll be an annoyance the whole time.
What do you think about getting Clay Thompson? What do you think about getting him?
No, he's not going to come.
He wants to be a Warrior. He even said that. He said that during a press conference.
I will go on a limb and say that Klay Thompson will either be in one of two places: Golden State or the Lakers.
I could see the Lakers, yeah, or the Clippers.
Don't you think Dolan is embarrassed? He don't care because he just sells out. He doesn't really care.
No, okay, hold on. I think that he would be embarrassed, but the only thing that I like about Dolan and that everyone else should like about Dolan, You don't hear from him.
You never
have
do.
not heard
Almost
from him
ever.
in
Almost.
years.
Yeah.
Since he hired Phil. You haven't heard from James Dolan. You really haven't. And you know what? That's what Perry and Mills need right now. Perry and Mills need to run the show their way, and Dolan shouldn't meddle. And I think that he's been doing a better job of that, but, it's just the sour taste in people's mouths from what they have seen with the handling of Phil Jackson and Carmelo Anthony and now Kristaps Porzingis. Players talk. And who's to say that players haven't been talking to Melo or Kristaps or anyone that was involved in the Knicks during that time?
I'm going to tell you something. I'm glad they got rid of Porzingis. I'm glad they got rid of him.
Yeah?
You know what I'm saying?
Really?
He didn't want to be here. Goodbye. That's it. Let's move on. That's all.
Yeah, they really needed a washing machine, so that was a good trade. So
I ask you one more question before I go. You think Mark Jackson will be the coach of the Lakers next year?
Who?
Who was
Mark
that again?
Jackson.
Mark Jackson. Mark, I'll tell you what. Mark Jackson would be perfect, and especially if they could get a superstar into Richie. But he's not leaving. He's got the coziest job in the whole wide world. He loves it on TV. I don't see for a second him coming to the Knicks.
No, to the Lakers or the Knicks?
Are you talking the Lakers or the Knicks?
He said the Lakers.
Oh, you said the Lakers? No, for anybody. He's not going anywhere. Doesn't matter.
All right, guys, take care.
All right, Richie, thank you.
Not
Richie,
even for LeBron would he do that.
Richie, and you know what's funny about that? Whatever's happening in Los Angeles is not Luke Walton's fault. If anything, Magic Johnson's seats should get a little warm. Because you got to think of what Pelinka and Magic Johnson try and do for the Lakers. They've been tampering, if you will, trying to get Anthony Davis. And listen, if the Lakers don't get Kawhi or Anthony Davis this offseason, what are the Lakers doing?
This team's going to be bad.
Because you have the best player in the world. LeBron James is the best player in the world on your team. And you just got blown out by 40 points. They need to do something.
It's happened a few times this year.
It's February. He doesn't play in February. Wait.
No, you're right. Usually after the All-Star break, LeBron goes on a tear the rest of the year.
Watch this team get in the playoffs as an 8 or 7 seed and go to the conference finals.
If that happens,
against Golden State or Houston?
Yeah.
Because Golden State
I don't know about
Houston's
Houston
going
going that far.
If they go in at the 8 and run into Golden State, that'll be where they lose in the conference finals. I think it's a very possible chance the Lakers get in.
Against the Nuggets, too. Nuggets are a great team also.
Nuggets are a good team. Isaiah Thomas just came back, too.
Yeah, that's right.
Nuggets are weird.
Yeah.
This just came out of nowhere.
End of last year, they started up as a decent team, and now this year they're one of the best. It's
pretty crazy. It turned around in a year.
I don't think it's going to last that long.
Me neither.
Why? Why can't it? Why can't we have
Denver's
hope?
good.
Why can't we have hope that a different team...
Listen, don't you talk to me about hope. I've been waiting since 2000. You a lot more. I've been waiting since 2000 for my basketball team to do something good. Not great, just good. Win a playoff series, and that happened. I couldn't even tell you the year right now.
I'm just saying they have a lot there. You got Thomas. You got Joke. This is a good team. Why can't we hope?
The Nuggets are good.
I want to see another Mavericks. I want to see another Mavericks beat a super team. I want to see a Nuggets beat a Golden State Warriors. I'm tired of this NBA.
So am I. But get your head out of the clouds. You know what's not going to happen right now.
But just have a little hope.
Wait until the offseason.
Mike Malone's a good coach. He's doing a good job there. Let's have some hope, people. Go Nuggets!
All right, Roy. Is that your Western Conference team now?
They are. I'm rooting for the Nuggets.
Imagine Portland does something with Cantor now.
Oh, man. There would be no more sweet irony. And I would be rooting for it all the way.
Me too.
All right, so that's enough football. A little bit of basketball talk that we got into there. But don't go anywhere because...
baseball!
It's coming. Summer is coming. I just started watching the first episode of Game of Thrones.
Yes.
I'm hooked. Summer is coming. Baseball is coming up next.
We got a male age 20, possible overdose.
Led Zeppelin? The Kinks? Van Halen? What is this? Who did this?
That's exactly correct, Sergeant Johnson. Who did this? This wasn't any ordinary overdose. This was a rock overdose.
It's Rock Overdose, Mondays through Thursdays at 2 p.m. on the voice of Nassau Community College, 90.3 WHPC.
What?
Oh, good.
Would you like to care to tell me what you're laughing at?
This song! Your song selection is hysterical!
It's the most random soundtrack
You
ever.
find the most ridiculous things to play!
Listen, I like this song a lot.
Your taste in music is so scattered.
No, it
It's
is not.
ridiculous.
Wait a minute.
is.
No, it is not. It goes from the 50s until now.
What do you ever play from now?
Justin Timberlake.
When did you ever play?
that? I think when I first started, I played Bringing Sexy Back.
You just when did that happen? I want the tape.
I don't know where it is. It gets deleted. So please stop touching your eye. My God, please stop. I don't like that. Just stop.
That's how you win arguments with Eric. You just touch your eye.
No, just don't touch it.
Your fault. You made me laugh. So I close my eyes when I laugh because I'm very squinty-eyed, and my contacts move.
Whatever. We're all over the place right now. You are listening to WHBC Sports Talk here on the voice of Nassau Community College, 90.3 WHBC. It's getting hot in here, so take off all your clothes. I'm putting on the air conditioner. I'm Eric Bichetti, alongside me, Nick Ornberger.
Hi, I'm Nick Ornberger.
Hey, how are you? And of course, Matt Sharkowick.
What is that?
Nothing much, my man. Nothing much. Why is the air conditioner not working? Damn it!
It
There we
doesn't
go.
like you.
Yeah, apparently not. Nobody likes me. I'm nervous.
True things.
So, shut up, Nick. So, let's talk baseball. It's coming. You know what else came today? An extension for Luis
Severino.
For Luis Severino. And the New York Yankees agreed on a 4-year deal worth $40 million. That buys out his arbitration year and includes a 5th-year club option. Nicholas, what do you think about this extension?
Well, this is brilliant on the Yankees' standpoint, and Luis Severino and his agent probably realized that he wasn't going to get, even if he got a little better in arbitration, it wasn't worth him not taking that extra year. Because keep in mind, this is his going to be his 4th year of Major League eligibility. This pays him more than I think the total of his arbitration would have been worth over these 3 years. And on top of that, it allows the Yankees to lock him in for 1 extra year before he hits free agency in 2023.
Yeah, it's a couple of years.
So this is a great deal for the Yankees. I think Luis Severino, I said it on this air with you, that his price tag, he absolutely destroyed any hope of him getting the big extension when he blew game 1 of the, what was it, the
ALDS?
No, matter of fact, the wild card. They had to save him, remember?
Oh, what? Wait, so 2017?
This year.
No, Severino was good
no,
this
that's
year.
right. No.
17 against the Twins.
No. He blew a huge game. There was the ALDS then. I'll find
It had to be. But
I'll find it for you. But he blew a huge game, put him in a hole against the Boston Red Sox, and that was that.
I'll go further. His second half was terrible.
Yeah, it wasn't great. I think a lot of that has to do with exhaustion.
I guess so, but if anything, that just made his price tag even lower.
Yeah.
This is a guy that has the potential to be one of the best pitchers in the game, if not just the American League, but one of the best pitchers in the game. And, you said it also. You said, how can I count on this guy being my ace if he, poo-poos the bet in the second half all the time?
And on top of that, he can't pitch in the big spot. I'm sorry, if he's not protected by a lead in a series, he's pitched pretty terrible.
But you know what? Now the Yankees have that luxury of having the best bullpen in baseball now. So if he gets in trouble just a little bit, you got a plethora of guys that you can go to.
Well, that's fine and all, and that's...
But the thing is, you shouldn't have to do that if this guy is your ace. I agree with you.
Okay.
But if you had to ask me, I love this signing because if you can argue the fact that Severino's price tag was lowered due to the fact of the second half this year. This was a guy in the beginning half of the year, he was in Cy Young talks. And that really fell off in the second half. It fell off the second half.
Where did he finish? He was like 4th, right? 4th.
It had to be 4th or 5th. It had to be. It was behind, it was behind Kluber, it was behind Sales, behind somebody else. Was it Garrett Cole?
No, it was the other guy from Cleveland.
Bauer?
Not Bauer, the other one. Carrasco. I think Carrasco was in that division. I'll look it up. Though.
Yeah, just look it up. But either way, I actually really like this deal for the Yankees because, this just opens up for the fact, maybe that's why they don't want to break the bank for a Harper or a Machado, so that way they can re-sign their core guys first. If you ask me, I think the next person in line has to be the eventual captain, Aaron Judge.
Agreed.
you know what? I think it makes sense if you want to lock these guys down because their window to win is now. And if you lock these guys down, it's going to convert. Well, not convert. It's going to lure free agents back to New York again. Honestly, and I truly like this deal for the Yankees. But switching over to Queens, all right, Matt.
Let's do
Jacob
it.
DeGrom and the New York Mets will cease talks on a potential contract extension for the ace pitcher on opening day.
Good.
According to General Manager Brody Van Wagenen, and ESPN and multiple outlets reported earlier that DeGrom's representatives set the opening day deadline and informed the Mets that DeGrom would not negotiate a deal during the season.
Yeah, this is very, very odd that they're doing this right now.
Well, what do you think about the whole thing?
The whole thing? I mean, look... Overall, I mean, DeGrom wants to be paid more. I understand that point of view, but at the same time, we know the Wilpons. I don't know what they're going to do as far as a max extension for him. If anything, I think he's worth paying him. He's your star guy now, so I think it's very bizarre, this whole situation, what they're doing here.
Do you understand that if you don't pay him now, he's going to be a free agent?
He'll be a free agent, and he might leave
by
if he doesn't.
32.
Yeah, by 32. You're right.
You willing to give DeGrom an extension at 32?
No, that's where the other side of the coin is. He's older now, so I don't think he's going to be nearly as worth as what he's probably envisioning in his head.
If you were Brody, would you actually give the benefit, not the benefit of the doubt, would you sign DeGrom now when you don't have to, mind you? You technically do not have to sign DeGrom right now.
No, he's guaranteed $17 million for this year, and he's locked up until 2020-21 season.
And just think about it. Think about what you can get for him on the trade market.
You can get a lot for him right now, especially since he won the Cy Young.
If you traded him...
His peak for signing is right now. If you're going to get anything
signing, trading, he's going to want a ton of money if you sign him right now, which I don't think the Mets should do right now.
I don't think they're going to do it. I really don't.
But would you be upset if they didn't extend him right now?
If they didn't extend him right now, I would say it's a big missed opportunity for sure.
You really think so?
I think they should. I mean, he wants to stay here. He loves playing for us. I mean, it's going to be up in the air.
Listen, if you had to ask me, and Nick, you can vouch for me, I don't think it makes sense right now to sign DeGrom.
It doesn't make sense right now.
Doesn't make a lick of sense. I don't know what they're trying to do. First of all, Jacob DeGrom knows he's getting a huge payday. Arbitration's going to lean heavily in his favor.
Oh, absolutely.
Arbitration's going to wind up paying him out like $22.5 million. That's what they're looking at.
Yeah.
So the Mets are trying to avoid that. But what they don't realize, you're not going to negotiate him off of making $20 million a year. If you're trying to lock him up in lockstep beyond that, the only way this makes sense is you're trying to do it up to a 6-year deal, and he doesn't want a 6-year deal. This guy wants to be paid for
right
8 to 10 years at
definitely.
the $30 million clip.
Do you even think anyone would give it to him then?
No,
I don't think so.
There's no shot that this guy's going to be a free agent. Don't get me wrong. Jacob DeGrom is one of my favorite pitchers to watch. He's an outstanding pitcher. If you put him on any staff in the major leagues, in baseball, you will get results no matter which team. It'll be a ton of 1-0 losses depending on the team you're on. But still, DeGrom is one of the best pitchers in the game. You saw that by Cy Young. All right? I don't care about the numbers in that sense. He won the Cy Young. That's
100%.
the bottom line right there. If you, I was on record also. I don't know if it was on this show, but I was definitely on record. If he even got votes to win Cy Young, his trade value would have skyrocketed.
Oh, yeah.
But it's even more now because he won it. You know what you're getting. Think about it. The Mets traded R.A. Dickey right after they won the Cy Young. Do you remember who they got back?
Oh, man, that was a little while ago.
Easy. Syndergaard and d'Arnaud.
Yeah.
You traded a Cy Young winner to the Blue Jays, who was not the same when he went to Toronto, and you got back one of the best young pitchers in the game, but is very infuriating to root for because he gets hurt all the time.
Yeah, that is the only downside of it.
Do you know how far down? Sorry, just we were way off on Luis Severino. He finished 10th in the Cy Young.
Oh, wow. Really?
Yeah.
Really?
Snell, Verlander, Kluber, Sale.
Oh, Sale. That was the guy.
Cole,
oh, my
Bauer, Blake Treinen from Treinen, that's what it is.
From
and Edwin Diaz in Seattle. Edwin Diaz, the closer. That's insane.
Wow.
Having said that, yeah, this is a terrible idea. I don't know what the Mets are trying to do.
It's
this
weird.
is dumb.
Yeah.
They're not. They're gonna hose themselves out of a good deal. You have them under control for the next 2 years. Worry about it 2 years from now. It's stupid.
Honestly. All right, so let's keep it going to the division rival of your New York Mets. The Philadelphia Phillies and Aaron Nola agree on a 4-year, $45 million contract extension. What do we think of this move? I'll tell you right now, I love it. Phillies' window to win will be open.
Building. It's definitely building.
And just think about it. Harper and Machado are still out there.
So
if they get one of them, their window to win might be for 5 years, if not a little bit more. So this is the perfect time to do it because the Phillies are getting good. Now, the Braves got good, too. When they added Donaldson, they added McCann back. The Braves are going to be good. They have a good young core of Albies and Acuna, but the Phillies with Hoskins, now with Arrieta on the pitching staff, Nola you locked down. The Phillies are going to be outstanding.
I mean, this really just mirrors the Luis Severino deal. They've done the same thing. He gets the big money now.
And he's a core guy.
And they buy out a year of his free agency for it. And he's a core guy. You're showing to the rest of the league, hey, we're willing to spend money. Come here. We have a Cy Young caliber pitcher ready for you to hit for. Let's go.
But the thing that bothers me about the Phillies is that we were all there when they said, "Oh, we're gonna spend stupid money." You got McCutchen. Who else did the Phillies get recently?
I don't know. I paid next to no attention to the Philadelphia Phillies.
No, but either way, you have to start paying attention to the Phillies now. They're going to mean a ton of business. I would probably bet that it's going to be a two-way battle for the NL East between Philly and Atlanta. It's crazy.
I could see that.
It's crazy how good the Phillies could be. The potential is still there. And if you had to ask me right now, I think they're getting Harper. I really, truly do. They've been in on him the most. And if anything, I would say that Machado is still linked to the Yankees very, very heavily. I think if it came down to it, to years and money, if he's not, amused by anything, if he's not aroused by anything, I think he'll be a Yankee.
That was the other big one. They got Real Muto there now.
Yeah, Real Muto.
Trade.
Yeah, so their window to win is open, but it will be even better once they get one of the big guys between Machado and Harper. I think the Phillies are going to be great for a couple of years. Matt, I'm telling you, Thorn in the Mets side. If the Mets eventually get
most
good,
of the NL is starting to catch up. The NL's getting a lot better.
You just got to thank your lucky stars that the Marlins exist. And now
that's true.
And now to end it all up, I want to talk to you about this. The all-star pitcher from Cleveland, Trevor Bauer, thought the Cleveland Indians had presented a better overall case against him in their latest salary arbitration until the last 10 minutes. It started out positive, but then it got negative, which he viewed as character assassination against him. Bauer eventually beat Cleveland in the arbitration hearing for the second straight year. The three-person panel awarded him $13 million on Wednesday instead of the Indians' $11 million offer. What do you think of the arbitration hearing as a whole? Because according to him, this is just complete character assassination.
Cleveland can do nothing right. I'm convinced. Anywhere in Cleveland, it's just stupid things happen.
It's amazing if they had a real sports team.
Yeah, right. I don't understand how maybe he's just being sensitive. And I think a lot of these guys are sensitive. Derek Carr was a guy who's sensitive. He called up ESPN because somebody said something mean about him.
Kevin Durant.
Yeah.
Kevin Durant article.
Making ghost Twitter. Can players just stop listening to the outside world? And when it comes to your employers, these people are just trying to save a buck the way you're trying to make a buck. So don't hate the game, play the game, and beat them. It's weird. And the Indians, if they're really throwing anything out there that's character assassination, I'm interested to know what it is.
Honestly, character assassination could be, I don't think you're worth that much money.
I feel like it would need to be, for me, somebody to paint it as character assassination, I feel like it would need to be something on a personal level.
Yeah, but just think about what Trevor Bauer has done. He attacked a defenseless girl on Twitter, verbal abuse. It was nuts. This is a guy that cut himself with the drone.
Right.
I mean, this guy is nuts, honestly.
I get it.
But I like him a lot.
So these must be things they brought up. And how can anyone, including him, not realize that these may be used against you? So
it's crazy, but you know what? Guys, this was a lot of fun. This was brought to you here by the lovely people of 90.3 WHBC Sports Talk. Now it's time for the three of us to bring in the closer. Nick, let's start with you.
Well, I will say this: March Madness is around the corner.
Go Duke.
There are some fringe teams. I think Clemson on the bubble. I feel like it's going to be at Gonzaga.
Alabama, I think.
They are very low on the bubble, but they're right there. People I'm calling out: Nebraska. I don't think they make it. It's been a little rough going there.
Yeah,
and yeah, that's basically all I got for you. I'm excited for some basketball. Let's go,
Matt.
Speaking of basketball, the NBA All-Star Game is this weekend. Team LeBron all the way. It's going to be fun. Isn't it ironic that he's got Kevin Durant and Kawhi on the team? Isn't it funny?
And Anthony Davis. Oh, man.
We forgot to mention the Kaepernick thing. Apparently the grievances are resolved, quotations for him and Eric Reed, so I can't wait till that comes out.
Well, thank you for stealing my closer, Nick, so now I'm going to have to change it up really quick.
Wait, was that yours?
Yeah.
Darn it!
No, it's okay. Manny Machado and the San Diego Padres met and in other news, yawn. He's not going to the Padres. Of course he's going to sit down with the Padres because it's the warm weather, it's Eric Hosmer, and the potential to bring in seats to Petco Park. San Diego, just walk away.
No.
Walk away, San Diego.
Bye-bye.
He's got a better chance of coming to the Bronx than he does to San Diego. Nothing good ever happens to you. Just walk away. So, from Nick Ornberg and from Matt Charkwick, I'm Eric Pache saying, in the wise words of Jack Black, I will catch you guys on the flip-flops.